Okay, let's get into this. Think about a court, right? One with this really distinct reputation, um, almost predictably on one side of things.
Yeah, you sort of knew what to expect.
Exactly. And then that same court suddenly issues these decisions that just will throw everyone off,
Mm-hmm.
completely against type.
Mm-hmm. Not just once either.
Right, twice
Yeah.
in like a really short time. And that's what we're digging into today, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and these really unexpected rulings.
Yeah, today's deep dive is all about that. These recent Ninth Circuit rulings on the Second Amendment, they're kind of bombshells, really.
Bombshell is a good word for it.
So we're going to unpack the surprising details, look at the court's reputation, its history, and figure out what these decisions actually mean for gun rights. It's about getting you the key info to make sense of it.
And that's exactly our plan. We'll use the source material we've looked at to show you why these rulings from this court really caught people flat-footed. It's quite a fascinating turn.
It really is.
So let's set the stage a bit. The Ninth Circuit.
Hmm?
It has a very clear public image, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's almost universally called the most liberal court in America. That's the shorthand you always hear.
Right. And that reputation isn't just talk, is it?
No, not at all. It's often backed up by how many of its rulings get overturned by the Supreme Court. That happens quite a bit.
So much so that critics have a nickname for it.
The Nutty Ninth.
Yeah.
Precisely because of that reversal rate. It suggests, a consistent disagreement from the higher court.
They've kind of earned that label over time, it seems. Like the Supreme Court needs a special stamp just for Ninth Circuit reversals.
You could almost imagine that, yeah.
And to really underline that reputation, think about this example from our source. Back in 2002, this court actually ruled the Pledge of Allegiance unconstitutional.
Because of the phrase, under God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that gives you a pretty clear picture. Like, it helps understand why the recent stuff seems so surprising.
Mm-hmm. And connecting this to the cases, we really need to look at the Second Amendment's text. It's central here.
Okay, what does it say exactly?
It reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
The right of the people.
Exactly. That phrase, the right of the people, that's really the crux of so many legal fights over gun rights. Who are the people? What does keep and bear mean, especially outside the home?
Okay, so given that history, that reputation, what happened next really stands out.
It really does, because it wasn't just one ruling that went against the grain.
No, the source said two, right? Within about a month.
Yeah, 2 decisions favoring gun rights, boom, boom, within just 30 days from this court.
Okay, so let's break those down. What was the first one?
Right, the first ruling we looked at went against California. It said the state couldn't stop individuals from buying high-capacity magazines for semi-automatic weapons.
Wow. Okay, that alone is pretty significant from the Ninth Circuit.
Definitely a big deal. And then came the second one. This involved a specific person, George Young, a resident of Hawaii.
George Young, okay. What was his situation?
Well, back around 2011, he tried to get a concealed carry permit, and he was denied. Twice, actually, by the lower courts and the state court.
And what was their reasoning for denying him?
This is crucial. The lower courts basically argue that, yes, you have a right to protect yourself with a gun, but only inside your own house, not out in public.
Only at home. Got it.
But then in 2018, the Ninth Circuit weighed in on Mr. Young's case, and they ruled differently.
How so?
They explicitly backed the right for individuals to carry firearms in public. They directly struck down that only-at-home argument from the lower courts.
So they overturned the lower courts on that point.
Precisely. And the source material quotes directly from the Ninth Circuit's ruling here. They said, for better or worse, the Second Amendment does protect a right to carry a firearm in public for self-defense.
For better or worse? That's quite a phrase from a court.
Isn't it? It acknowledges the controversy, but states their legal conclusion pretty clearly.
So thinking about our listeners, what does all this actually mean for the average person? How does it affect things day to day, potentially?
Well, the potential practical impact is pretty significant. Our source suggests these rulings could change all that when it comes to how hard it is to get concealed carry permits.
Especially in certain states.
Exactly. States within the Ninth Circuit like California, Oregon, Washington. The source describes getting a permit there now as very difficult, even like pulling teeth.
Okay.
So this ruling by affirming a right to self-defense with a gun outside the home, well, it could really shift the landscape for permits in those places. It challenges the existing restrictions.
Right. It establishes that the right isn't just confined to your four walls.
That's the key takeaway for public carry.
Now, the source we looked at featured a speaker, Douglas Dakota. He sounded genuinely surprised, right? Offered kudos even.
Yeah, he was clearly taken aback, especially given his view of the Ninth Circuit as strongly liberal. He definitely didn't expect these kinds of rulings from them.
And did he have any thoughts on why this might be happening? Any speculation?
He did speculate a bit. He wondered if maybe the Ninth Circuit is turning the page, changing its approach.
Saving his whole philosophy.
Or maybe he suggested it's part of what he called a walkaway movement. People moving from, his description was the Democratic or liberal side over to the Republican or conservative side.
Where he felt common sense was being used.
That was his phrasing, yes. Now, it's really important for us to state here, we're just relaying Douglas Dakota's perspective from the source material. We're presenting his views impartially as part of understanding the reaction, not, endorsing them ourselves.
Absolutely. Just reporting what the source said. So let's try and pull this all together. This deep dive shows us, well, a really surprising situation. You have this court, known for being liberal, known for clashing with the Supreme Court, and suddenly it issues these rulings that seem much more aligned with a conservative view of the Second Amendment.
Specifically expanding the right to carry guns in public.
Yeah, expanding it beyond the home. It's quite the turn.
It really leaves you with something to think about, doesn't it? What does it really signify when a court, one known for such consistent leanings, one that gets reversed fairly often, suddenly makes decisions that seem to go against its own pattern?
Right. What's the bigger picture there?
And how might these specific decisions, these rulings on magazines and public carry, how might they ripple outwards? How could they reshape the whole conversation about gun rights, about personal liberty, especially in those states under the Ninth Circuit's jurisdiction? It's definitely something to watch.